welcome to Monday's Morbid Minute. This is your quick rundown of the week's most fascinating stories involving death, disease, medicine, and injury, making headlines and rippling through the pop culture. We'll tease the cases here, then do a deep dive into the pathology, forensics, and medical mysteries later in our normal Mother Knows Death episodes, in articles over in the Gross Room, and during our weekly YouTube live bonus episode exclusively for Gross Room members. If it's dark, disturbing, medically bizarre, or just too good not to dissect, you'll hear it first on Monday's Morbid Minute. In true crime and court cases, authorities are searching for a toddler in Alabama who was reported missing after her mother told police she could not find the child in her bed. Neighbors told reporters they had not seen the girl in weeks, raising serious concern about the timeline of her disappearance. Investigators are working to verify the mother's account and determine when the child was last independently seen. A Texas judge has formally declared 4 men innocent in the infamous 1991 Austin yogurt shop murders, one of the state's most notorious cold cases. The crime involved the rape and execution-style shooting of 4 teenage girls before the shop was set on fire. The men had long maintained their innocence. Their cases unraveled after courts determined that the original prosecutions relied heavily on coerced confessions and lacked supporting physical evidence. The major turning point came when advanced DNA testing linked the murders to a different suspect who was a violent offender who died in 1999. The judge's formal ruling clears the men after decades of suspicion and imprisonment, and it may open the door to compensation claims. A Long Island, New York man has been arrested after police say his sister was grazed in the face by a bolt fired from a crossbow during a domestic incident. The victim survived with non-life-threatening injuries. This week's Forensic Friday in the Gross Room talks all about crossbow injuries and deaths and shows pictures of various wounds. The case of former Florida principal Dr. George Kenney continues to resurface because of the unusual allegations that hypnosis sessions with students may have preceded several teen deaths. Kenney admitted to hypnotizing students for issues like anxiety and sports performance, but investigators struggle to prove a direct causal link between the hypnosis and the fatalities. The case remains controversial largely because hypnosis can increase suggestibility, but proving it directly causes self-harm is extremely difficult from a forensic and legal standpoint. An Australian mountaineer was convicted of gross negligent manslaughter after his girlfriend died of hypothermia during a winter climb. Prosecutors said he continued the climb in dangerous conditions and later left her alone near the summit before descending. She was found dead the next morning. He has now been accused of leaving another girlfriend behind during a hike as well. The murder of West Virginia teen Skylar Neese is back in the public eye due to a new docuseries. The 2002 case involved 2 teenage friends who lured Neese out at night and fatally stabbed her. The case remains one of the most chilling examples of peer-perpetrated teen homicide. Police say a woman is facing charges after allegedly posing as a child protective service worker in an apparent attempt to take custody of a child. According to investigators, the suspect approached the family while claiming to be affiliated with child welfare authorities, which immediately raised alarms when details of her credentials did not check out. Authorities intervened before the child was removed and the woman was taken into custody. A high school student has been accused of running an online sextortion operation that allegedly targeted minors. Investigators say the scheme involved coercing victims into sending explicit images and then demanding money. A mother was arrested after police say that she left her young children with an Uber driver for hours while she went shopping at a mall. The driver eventually contacted authorities. A California jury has convicted James Oliver Eunuch in the 1982 rape and murder of 13-year-old Sarah Geer, closing a case that has been cold for decades. Investigators developed a DNA profile after the crime, then used genetic genealogy to narrow suspects. The final break came when agents collected DNA from a discarded cigarette Unick smoked, which matched the crime scene evidence. He now faces life in prison without parole. Police say a man is accused of killing his girlfriend with a saw that he had delivered from DoorDash. In one of the more chilling surveillance-driven cases, a defendant has been sentenced to decades in prison after killing his girlfriend and transporting her body using a hotel luggage cart. Investigators said the victim died during a violent incident inside the hotel room, after which the suspect was captured on security video repeatedly moving in and out of the room and later wheeling the body through the hotel. And a deeply disturbing homicide case is drawing renewed attention after details emerge about a father who murdered his partner and then photographed their children with her dead body. According to court evidence, the man killed the children's mother and later took what prosecutors described as, quote, sick photos of the children in the presence of her corpse. Let's move on to celebrity and pop culture news. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, is back in headlines amid renewed scrutiny tied to his past association with Jeffrey Epstein and his former role as the UK's trade envoy. Recent reporting indicates police and officials are reviewing related allegations, but no new criminal charges have been publicly confirmed. Andrew stepped back from royal duties in 2019 following the Epstein controversy and later settled a U.S. civil sexual assault lawsuit without admitting wrongdoing. Officials say that any current inquiries remain ongoing. Eric Dane, known to many fans as McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy, has died at 53 years old, about 10 months after publicly sharing that he had been diagnosed with ALS. Several outlets noted the timing that his death fell on the 20th anniversary of his first appearance as Mark Sloan on the show. Actor Peter Green, who starred in Pulp Fiction and The Mask, died. According to the New York City Medical Examiner, his death was caused by a gunshot wound to the left axilla or armpit with injury to the brachial artery, and it was classified as an accident. In sports, NFL wide receiver Rondale Moore has died at age 25. Police describe the death as a suspected self-inflicted gunshot wound and say the investigation is ongoing, with tributes pouring in from teams and former coaches. A special shout out to a hugely influential artist in our city, Philadelphia mosaic artist Isaiah Zagar. Isaiah transformed large parts of South Philadelphia into colorful mosaic environments using broken glass, mirrors, tiles, and found objects. Over his career, he created hundreds of murals around the city, with his most famous work being the Philadelphia Magic Gardens on South Street, an immersive maze-like environment that has become one of Philly's most recognizable cultural landmarks. Shia LaBeouf is back in the headlines after being arrested during Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Police say the 39-year-old was charged with 2 counts of simple battery following an altercation at a Royal Street bar where he allegedly became aggressive and was asked to leave and struck down multiple patrons. Witnesses reported that he had been on a multi-day bar crawl leading up to the incident. He was taken to a hospital, booked, and later released. Reality star Brandi Glanville says that she finally got an explanation for the facial swelling and, quote, parasite symptoms she discussed for years. She claims her breast implants were completely ruptured with silicone, affecting lymph nodes and contributing to an infection that showed up in her face. She says she saw more than 20 doctors before imaging identified the problem and that she recently had the implants removed and is feeling better. We have an update on a story we talked about a few weeks ago involving Nicole Polizzi, otherwise known as Snooki. We talked about a cone biopsy she was getting because her doctors were suspicious for cancer. Well, they were right. She has been diagnosed with stage 1 cervical cancer and saying that finding it early has helped and that she is urging people to stay on top of routine screening. A Polish speed skater suffering a frightening facial injury during the women's 1,500-meter race at the Winter Olympics. The 25-year-old went down a multi-skater crash when an American skater's blade accidentally struck her just below her left eye. She was treated on the ice behind a privacy screen and then stretchered off, leaving visible blood on the track. Officials later confirmed her eye itself was not seriously damaged, though she required stitches and further hospital evaluation. She has since undergone surgery to better assess for a facial fracture and is reported to be in stable condition. Finally, TMZ is reporting that adult content creator Bonnie Blue says she's pregnant after previously claiming she had unprotected sex with 400 men. We will have much more to say about this in one of this week's Mother Knows Death episodes. In medicine and health news, a Sydney restaurant is accusing a visiting family of deliberately planting an armpit hair in their food to avoid paying a roughly $600 bill. Staff say closed-circuit TV appears to show a man pulling a hair from under his arm and placing it on his plate after finishing the meal. Management ultimately waived the bill to defuse the scene, but later released footage to warn other restaurants. A 26-year-old man went viral after claiming airport security flagged his groin during a screening shortly after saying goodbye to his long-distance girlfriend. He admitted he had had what he described as a, quote, slight chub, which triggered the body scanner's red alert box and led to multiple pat-downs before he was cleared. He later called it the most humiliating experience of his life. A 56-year-old woman in England underwent quadruple amputation after developing overwhelming sepsis that doctors believe likely entered through a small wound on her leg that was licked by her dog. She suffered DIC and cardiac arrest episodes before surgeons amputated both hands and both legs to save her life. And a colorectal surgeon is in the news this week warning that both wet wipes and improper wiping technique can contribute to anal irritation. Frequent use of scented wipes may disrupt the sensitive perianal skin and lead to itching or dermatitis. Experts recommend wiping front to back using gentle pressure and considering plain toilet paper or water cleansing if irritation develops. In freak accidents and unexpected deaths, a terrifying moment unfolded in Chicago when a strong gust of wind blew a stroller carrying an 8-month-old girl into Lake Michigan at Belmont Harbor. Police say bystanders reacted immediately and one man jumped into the frigid water despite saying he does not know how to swim. He was able to keep the baby afloat until others helped pull them to safety. The infant was taken to Lurie Children's Hospital for observation and was reported to be in good condition. And in a bizarre but very real ER case, a 19-year-old man required emergency surgery after accidentally swallowing a bottle cap during a game of beer pong. He showed up to the hospital with throat pain, trouble swallowing, and breathing issues. An X-ray revealed the cap lodged in his upper esophagus. The bottle cap was successfully removed. In our last story in other death news, a Rhode Island family has filed a lawsuit after a devastating morgue mix-up led them to bury the wrong person. The family says their loved one died after a house fire, but when the funeral home retrieved the body, the hospital allegedly released the incorrect remains. The mistake was discovered after the burial, forcing the family to exhume the casket and rebury their relative. The hospital has acknowledged what error has occurred in its morgue and said the employee involved was terminated and procedures are being reviewed. Both the hospital and the funeral home are named in the lawsuit. And that's it for this week's Monday's Morbid Minute. For full breakdowns of these stories, plus any breaking news that develops, be sure to tune in to this week's regular Mother Knows Death podcast and check out the Gross Room. Don't forget to subscribe to us on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. And while you're there, leave us a review. We would love to hear what you have to say. If you see a story you want us to cover or have questions or comments, email us at stories@motherknowsdeath.com. Thank you for listening to Mother Knows Death. As a reminder, my training is as a pathologist assistant. I have a master's level education and specialize in anatomy and pathology education. I am not a doctor and I have not diagnosed or treated anyone, dead or alive, without the assistance of a licensed medical doctor. This show, my website, and social media accounts are designed to educate and inform people based on my experience working in pathology, so they can make healthier decisions regarding their life and well-being. Always remember that science is changing every day, and the opinions expressed in this episode are based on my knowledge of those subjects at the time of publication. If you are having a medical problem, have a medical question, or are having a medical emergency, please contact your physician or visit an urgent care center, emergency room, or hospital. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Mother Knows Death on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks.